The etymology, though, it says that maybe choice comes from Middle English, choice, but it's spelled chois, which came from Old French choisir, which is choisir, which means to choose. So interesting, intuitive. We knew this already. But before we move on, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, it's on like Donkey Kong. Rose Gold. All right, y'all. What's up, Roses? Welcome back. Hope you had a good little break. So let's get right back into it. So I brought up the bit about a choice being freely made because when I was watching the Middle Ground episode, one of the speakers said that he was born into his gang, basically like his family and all that bang. He grew up seeing blue rags and all that, and there's always shootings and always drugs, and you feel me? He was born into it, right? Like. And that led him to say that because he was born into it, he felt like he ain't had no choice to engage and participate in and become a gang member, right? Well, one thing that stood out to me instantly was sort of my exposure versus engagement claim. So I interpreted what he said as basically, you know, because he was exposed to gang culture and lifestyle early on, he was automatically guaranteed to be part of it. Or really more specifically, what he's saying is he was guaranteed to have committed engagement from it. So he can't leave it, he said, because he was born into it. So that's why committed is a key word here. I'm not just saying like being exposed doesn't mean you engage with it, because in some ways you are. Like if someone shines a light in your face, even if you don't want to look at it, your eyes are going to veer towards it. Like that's engagement. It's just like automatic, right? But I'm talking about committed, prolonged engagement. And I think there's a huge difference also with sort of like affiliation and membership. Like there's a difference between the two. And from my perspective, to be affiliated is to be associated with. And of course, if a gang banging dad and mama come together and have a baby, then that's going to be a gang banging baby. You feel me? Like, especially, you know, by the time the baby is born and grows up, the parents is still banging around them. And, you know, the baby is born affiliated with the gang of the parents, affiliated. But what was guaranteed off rip wasn't membership with the gang, just membership with the family. You're born into the family, but you were born in affiliation with the gang, and membership and affiliation aren't the same. That's just my perspective with it. So that's like my response to his argument, because his argument is sort of like the antithesis of what I believe completely, and that's cool. But furthermore, though, it seemed like that the way that he conceptualizes choice and the act of choosing and choice making, it's almost like the way he sees it is in a way that doesn't see it for what it is plainly. Like choosing is to make a choice, right? It's just plain and simple. If you choose to say, yeah, I'm gonna ride for y'all and we all the gang, that's just literally what you did. You chose to do that. And that doesn't take in all the other details, but it's just like literally you selected that gang from even other options. Like, why did you choose to be a Crip and not a Blood, right? You see what I'm saying? So, and that sounds so harsh, like to say like, yes, you chose this, but that's because we don't use logic when we looking at stuff most of the time. Like we use too much emotion. So like the first pushback to what I say is probably like, well, no, they threatened me to do it. Or, well, nah, like I couldn't make money no other way. Well, nah, of course, like I'm black. I have different like options available to me than white counterparts. But Or even I've even heard people say in the interview like they felt like they would let their family down if they didn't continue banging. And like one, that's like sort of sad to hear that you feel like you absolutely can't escape. This is like the people that say, you know, it's in me, I can't leave it, and they the ones panicking about it. Like it's sad to see that, because like a lot of stuff that comes with that gang life, no matter how the members itself try to spin it, because I've heard so many justifications for like BS for real, but like they'll say something like, you know, it's just the way it is, like we have to get it out the mud, and like I can't, like, but they'll be condoning like so many heinous crimes, and it's just like, no. If you feel like you can't escape something that's really killing you inside, like that's not something to like be proud of. I feel like it's something to work on, and we all need to change our perspectives on everything. But secondly, it just sort of showed to me that like there's different kind of choices. Like if you saying you was forced into it, or you felt like you had no other choice, you had no other way out, it doesn't show that you didn't make a choice. It just shows that it's different kind of choices. Like there's forced choices and there's free choices, and we can't say that a forced choice is not a choice. That sounds messed up. It sounds messed up because we have things like rape culture. It sounds messed up because we have things like just accidents. It sounds messed up because we have things like, you know, people who aren't in their right minds to make the choices they really want to make. But a choice is a choice, and this is my view. So logically, like a choice that is forced is literally just a choice with a qualifier on it, with an adjective on it, but it's still a choice. And as a 2-time survivor of sexual assault and countless other trauma, I still hold these views. I still hold these views that a choice is a choice as it relates to my own life. Some things were forced on me. I had to make a lot of forced choices, but I still made choices. Forced choices, forced selections out of various options, literally. And that's not victim blaming. It's not. And like, this conversation needs to be had, because like, maybe you disagree really hard listening right now. That's okay. Attack the idea, but don't attack me. Comment a revision to my view. Let's discuss. And because I'm open, I'm ready to listen. And if you like, I feel like if you are listening to what I'm saying and you taking in everything I'm saying, you will see that like it's not as far-fetched as it may seem at first listen. But I'm still willing to have like my view called into doubt. I'm passionate about what I feel because I've lived this life that I've lived. Just like, you know, that gang member was living his life that he lived, and he was adamant that no, it wasn't a choice. Like, but you feel me? That was just sort of how I felt about the whole thing. And I feel like because a choice is still a choice, it doesn't necessarily mean that just because you're exposed to something means you have to have this sort of committed, prolonged engagement to it. Like, say you're born into a gang and you be thinking like, nah, I'm trying to make it out the hood, I gotta leave this. Like, maybe I want to pick up basketball, maybe I want to pick up dentistry, maybe I want to pick up, I don't know, golfing. Like, I want to do something that's productive for me and gonna make me feel successful in the end of the day. Like, only you can really truly decide if you gonna do that, if you gonna tell them no. Especially, I'm looking at a lot of men saying they can never get out, and it's like, you're a man. And it's just like, this may seem like sexist, but it seems like there is just a difference between men and women, and that men are sort of have this sort of better ability to sort of be open and blunt about like, no, they don't want to do this, like, because they're supposed to be sort of the leaders between the two of us, right? And it's like, well, it's if you as a man and y'all calling yourself real niggas and, you know, real street niggas and real hood niggas can't even tell somebody that bleeds the same blood as you, that has the same status as you, that has the same weapons, drugs, and money as you, you don't want to do this, you're not gonna follow their game. It's sort of like, I'm not going to say nothing, whoa, but you think about that. You feel me? I'm not going to make any other bold assertions, but that was really it for that part. And his view was basically the antithesis of my view, but it's no disrespect because I can see his side. Like, I just think it faltered a little bit because of everything I listed. And I just can't seem to fathom this idea that like just because you're born into something means you have to like, I'm talking about something that is like not race, that's not, you know what I'm saying, like skin tone. I think that's really the only thing you can be born into that you can't really escape. And like, even then we see people bleaching their skins trying to change, and they take a different, like, look at Rachel, like Dolezal, like, she's not black, But like, would you really know off first glance? You feel me? So it's just so many things that we can choose to change about our lives. And I don't like this sort of defeatist mentality that like, no, I'm born into this, I can't get out. And like, it's sad to say that like my view is considered radical and extreme. And even if you're listening to this and you think it's reasonable, go on social media. If I say this, if I had a bigger platform, I would get doxxed, I get canceled for saying this, because people are not using logic. And I love emotion. Like, I'm fine with emotion. I'm empathetic. I'm always all about let's get into it. But at the same time, it's like you have to have balance. Everything can't be emotional. Like, it's logic to this. You logically can make a choice. Even if it's not today, as a little boy, 8 years old, seeing your brother get shot and killed. Like, I'm so sympathetic and empathetic to that. That's not a choice to be, like, it's a forced choice, but it's not a choice you want to make. To have to say like, okay, I gotta suck it up and just do this. But at some point in your life, when you grow up and you got 3-4 kids and you still exposing them to all of that, that's your choice, bro, sis. That's your choice, for real. That's your choice. Like, that's how I feel about it. But anyway, as we sort of near the sort of end of this episode, let's reflect and recap. So today we talked about choice, autonomy, engagement, exposure, etc. So I use gangbanging as my main go-back example throughout the show, sort of only because I saw this interesting video and it's tied perfectly with my larger claim, which is that just because you exposed to something don't mean you have like this automatically guaranteed committed engagement with it. Like, babies are exposed to different toys and still choose one over the other. So choosing to not engage with another one, you know, is like their choice. Like, it's, you know what I'm saying? And really, like, my call to action for y'all is to reflect on the choices in y'all life. Look at how many of them be forced and how many of them be free, and how many you are conscious of and how many are just second nature now. We make millions of choices each day. We choose to move our arm up, move it down, sit up, swallow this time, breathe like this. Like, you ever switch to manual breathing? Like, that's a choice. Like, I just want y'all to reflect on the choices in your life, the choices of the people around y'all, and the mindsets and mentalities that y'all respectively have on the choices that y'all make. So maybe it's just your trauma. You feel like you can't live a life as a healed person. You afraid to go to therapy. You afraid to open up. That's your choice to live in fear. It really is. And maybe if that fear is coming from a place of external forces or making you feel like stupid for going to therapy, saying, oh, that's white people stuff. Like, that happened to me too. But it's like, at the same time, at the end of the day, you got to choose to do what you want to do. You got to choose. Like, and I'm so passionate and adamant about this because this is something I keep seeing. I think it's a downfall of our generation, and like, because it's so controversial, like it's not elevated to the point where it's like old heads know this. Like, old heads know it's a choice, right? But like us, we be so like pushed back on everything. It's so emotional. Like, it's so, and it's nothing emotional. Maybe it's coming with a negative connotation here, but I'm saying like it impedes us a lot. Like, it stifles us. It prevents us from doing what we need to do sometimes. And I need us to all come together, especially like my black people, my black kings, queens, and non-binary, like, just soldiers. Like, we all need to come together and let it be known that, like, that's what is probably the greatest part about life, is the ability to choose. Especially if you're in America, like in, it's different, like, we black Americans, but at the same time, like, we still have so many choices that people in Africa don't have. I have so many North African friends that are living in Sudan or that are living in Egypt, like, you know, more towards the other little center side. But at the same time, like, they can see us and they feel like they have no choice. But even them, with under their sort of stricter governmental rule, they still have choices. Like, they can make a choice to stand out and they'll get killed, but they still made that choice. You always have a choice. And it's just about the way that we look at what it means to have a choice. We have to be objective and logical. But that was really it, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back next time with another episode. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at _rosegoldempathy. And this was the second episode. I know. My life is like a pool, I'm in the deep end. No, they lurking, plotting, really creeping. F12, they be shooting for no reason. I just wanna live right, why you do me treason? I just wanna live life, I just wanna be free. Every day turn on the news, black bodies on TV. Why they wanna be me? They ain't never meet me. I just wanna feel love, they ain't never need me. I know it's hard, tear you apart. This be a war, but baby you done come so far. I know, 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 I know it's hard, tear you apart. I know it's hard, I know it's hard, I know it's hard. But you so strong, you so bomb, you ain't wrong, they is wrong. What's the song? It's so bomb, we so bomb. We finna blow 'em up, knowledge be everything, you gotta keep it tucked. He ain't poppin', just got a Bentley truck. I know you strong, don't start giving up. Look me in the eye, ain't gotta toughen up. It's okay to cry, ain't gotta muzzle up. I wanna hear you now, don't toughen up. Be soft, let it all go. It's okay to vibe, let it all grow. Baby, what you know? Look me in the eye, I be rose gold. I'm tryna wake us up. This beat is so groovy, almost